Hey, this is Shane Point to the Word. This will be part six of marriage and roles God has given us. I had my dog outside. I apologize for all the interruptions that were in the video last time. Didn't really think that one through. So now she's like outside, so all good. So this will be the last one of the role of the woman. So we're going to be in Proverbs 31. It's going to start in verse 10 and go through verse 31. So basically, this is just a little context. This is like a mother teaching a king, King Lemuel. So it has a lot of good, stuff in here, and we did touch upon like the older women teaching the younger women. So yeah, this is really good stuff, and this is usually like a go-to for, um, I don't know, like I always hear like, for a husband or for a wife, like this is always like a go-to, like this is what you want to strive for a wife. So anyway, Proverbs 31, chapter 10. The header is praise for a good wife. Who can find a virtuous woman? Virtuous means good, morally good. So who can find a good woman? For her price is far above rubies. The heart of her husband does safely trust in her, so that he shall have no need of spoil. She will do him good and not evil all the days of her life. She seeks wool and flax and works willingly with her hands. She is like the merchant ships. She brings her food from afar. And so I'm like teaching my son all this, and we actually, today, we're actually going to be uh, right on the mark. So the last half of this chapter, I'm planning on teaching my son today. So yeah, now we're. I was teaching my son like so much, so like he was so far ahead, but now I try not to go through too many verses with him. So it's kind of funny now. So now we're gonna be like all even after this. So anyway, I was teaching my son yesterday about this, because to him, a 6-year old, it's like, how do I explain a merchant ship to him? So, yeah, I'm like, it's kind of like, just like a semi truck, like a Walmart, truck bringing, food or, whatever, like goods, to and, from, the store and all that. So, yeah, so basically, she's like a merchant ship. She, brings her food from afar. So, she's a provider. She rises also while it is yet night, and gives meat to her household and a portion to her maidens. That'd be like like her servants, workers, that kind of thing. So she rises up, basically while it's still morning, um, and yeah, she takes care of her household, stuff like that. So um, yeah, I don't know. I think that's amazing. Like I don't know. You kind of think of, I don't know, like at least for me, growing up, I've seen like my grandma, growing up, or like my wife's grandma. They'll wake up super early, usually before if a whole bunch of families over for an event. They'll wake up really early. Get stuff going, like cooking and stuff. You know what I mean? Like kind of reminds me of that. You know what I mean? Like I don't know. I know, like people compare how it was you know for like people who like grew up in like the 40s, or or stuff like that. So I'm kind of rambling, but it just reminds me of that. Like I can think of a few people who are like that. Who a few women who wake up early and care that much about their family. So that reminds me of this. Um, so yeah, she wakes up while it's early. She considers a field and buys it. With the fruit of her hands, she plants a vineyard. She basically uses a bunch of strength, like she strengthens her arms, and then she perceives that her merchandise is good. Her candle goes not out by night. She lays her hands to the spindle, and our hands hold the distaff. So I looked that up, and it's basically like for now like a sewing machine. I was reading that to my kid, and I'm like, let me look this up. So, and I don't know about other versions. I don't know, what the word says there, but I read the King James version. I'm not saying you have to. It's just what I prefer, and I tend to memorize things easier with this version. Yeah, like for my kid, what I'll do is I'll have like the King James version Bible, and then on my phone I'll pop up or pull up YouTube, and then put a New King James version. They have a dramatized audio, so it has like actors and stuff, and so I'll put that and I'll cast it on the TV. So then I'll have like a verse read on the audio Bible on the TV. Then I'll pause it, and then I'll read here. So like my kid like hears it twice, like two verses like twice. So anyway, so yeah. I mean, yeah. I don't know what other versions say, but yeah, this staff is basically like a sewing machine out now. She stretches out her hand to the poor. Yea, she reaches forth her hands to the needy. So it's a woman who cares about the poor. So that's always good, and that's a sign of humility. I keep going back to this, but it's true, and yeah, um, I guess you could say some proud people do that too, but I don't know. Like usually, I guess that's depends on how genuine a person is. So she is not afraid of the snow for her household. Um, for all her household are clothed with scarlet. She makes herself coverings of tapestry. Her clothing is silk and purple. Her husband is known in the gates when he sits among the elders of the land. She makes fine linen and sells it, and delivers girdles unto the merchant. So there's a lot of like stay-at-home moms, right now, especially with the time we live in, like, and I mean, like the husbands will, basically work, and then stay-at-home mom kind of thing, which is crazy hard right now, and only getting harder by the day. But usually in that situation, and that's not the situation I'm in. Like I wish it were, but it's not. But some people I think of like they're in that situation. They have like a side gig kind of thing. So I mean, to like sell products, or I mean, so like that kind of thing. So it kind of reminds me of that. I mean, so she it says that she makes clothing, or fine linen, and sells it, and you know that kind of thing. So strength and honor are her clothing, and she shall rejoice in time to come. So and also to go back, the man is in other teachings that we've done. It says that the woman is to be in subjection to the man, and the man is to honor his wife. You know what I mean? And so you give her honor. So that kind of goes back to this. And it says in verse 26 now, she opens her mouth with wisdom, and in her tongue is the law of kindness. She looks well to the ways of her household, and eats not the bread of idleness. So that's another thing too. Yeah, so she's not a lazy woman. Like she's always doing something. Like she's always working, and she knows that she has things that need to be done. So Her children arise up and call her blessed, her husband also, and he praises her. So I think that's kind of cool. So, like I said, we're focusing on women, and her roles right now, but it's cool because now we can kind of see, the kind of back and forth. Like, the woman is, doing all these things, and now her children arise up and call her blessed, and her husband also, and he praises her. And that's awesome, and that's very, needed. You know what I mean? And not for the wife to, do it to, receive that. You know what I mean? Like, that's not that she would have the, that motivation, like, oh, I want to do this so I get my praise, that kind of thing. But you know what I mean? Like, she's, doing all these things, and he praises her, the husband. And that goes both ways too. You know what I mean? Like, we're not supposed to do things to be seen of men. So, something that Jesus said. And in verse 29, many daughters have done virtuously or are good, but thou excellest them all. Favor is deceitful and beauty is vain, but a woman that fears the Lord, she shall be praised. So this woman is teaching, her son, like, hey, favor is deceitful and beauty is vain, but a woman that fears the Lord, she shall be praised. So that, like, you know what I mean? Like, that verse, that's awesome. Like, like, beauty is vain. Like, and we read, like, Peter covered it. I can't remember the other one, but I don't know if that was in. Yeah, I know it was in, like, 1 Peter 3. I know Peter covered it, but there's another one that it said, not, don't worry about your hair or the jewelry and all these things, like, and this just like, and who knows, like, maybe they got that from the Old Testament, maybe they got that from this verse, I don't know, but that just really you have all these things that stack up, like, that just validate what Peter was saying. So yeah, that's great. I'm gonna read that again because that's really insightful. Like, favor is deceitful and beauty is vain, but a woman that fears the Lord, she shall be praised. Give her of the fruit of her hands, and let her own works praise her in the gates. So yeah, that's awesome. I love that. And yeah, I'll cut it there. And then the next video will be on the roles of men. Hope you guys have a great day. Bye.